Hello bread fans, this is Jay of Insane Coaster Junkie, and quick disclaimer before we move on. Everything in this video was done so with explicit permission from Waldameer and Waterworld, and supervised by a rides manager of all times. At no time during your visit should you attempt to get out of your vehicle and walk around the Whacky Shack or do anything stupid. Without further ado, enjoy the video, and happy 3,000 subscribers.
What is going on, bread fans? This is Jay of Insane Coaster Junkie, and I am joined here with Lucas and Fox. Or should I say Specs and Fox, because we are here for a video that is in the making. This has been one of the most bucket list videos I've wanted to make on this channel, and special thanks and special permission to do this today. We're not going to tell you what just yet, but it is going to be one good video for you guys today. So stay tuned, and let's go inside. So our first stop is the little sound effect room. We have our host Amanda Primmett today.
Hi.
Ride supervisor. So would you like to explain this sound system for us?
Well, it's a lot of buttons. I have a lot more to turn on still before this turns on. So let me just hit a few things here.
There we go.
That one's hiding down here. That one switch turns on.
There it is.
All of that.
So I guess it is now like an MP3 file or something.
Basically.
We never really knew who did the voice, I guess.
Yeah, we don't know either. That's something we have been wondering ourselves.
I was just told it was from 1992.
If that's the case, that voice is almost 30 years old. That
So,
means
yeah.
I was born in 1992.
So yeah, there's all the effects to turn on the ride. So yeah, now the ride is ready to work. So this is the operator control booth for those who operate Whacky Shack on a daily basis. So you know what the buttons do?
They do. So each one of these buttons is marked for each zone of the outside. Once the ride leaves zone 1, which is the zone right in front of us, it automatically does its own thing on the inside. Zone 2 is right behind you here. They're all marked in the chalk lines. So when I want to move a car from the exit, I hold down the Zone 4 button. As it leaves Zone 4, now I have to hold down Zone 3. And then as it leaves Zone 3, I hold down Zone 2. And once it gets to Zone 1, I just wait here, and that's where they load.
So you basically do it in an order.
Yeah, and there's Zone 5, which is kind of like an emergency if someone in Zone 4 is taking a little too long to get out. We have an emergency stop here for Zone 5.
So basically, Jay from Post, you want to define what a block zone is at this point.
A block zone is a section of a ride that only one train may occupy at a time.
Okay, thank you for that helpful information. So right here is figurines from various areas. So would you like to explain?
The former ride mechanic and basically Mr. Nelson's right-hand man for the longest time, his name was Perry Duncan. He used to maintain this ride, and those were just leftover toys that were found throughout his time taking over the ride. And we just thought it was a cool collection, so we just kind of left it. It's a little nostalgic.
And as you can see, there's a lot of awesome things. Anything from Mario Kart to Diddy Kong to Star Wars. So a lot of nostalgia in this scene here. Here we are, we have the first room. Very familiar here, so yeah. So let's explain what this room is all about.
It's supposed to give you a nice spooky feel when all the lights are off, that you're about to come into a crazy, crazy house.
So isn't that tilted, the right piece of the track there?
Yep, so you kind of get a little bit of a left tilt as you're going up.
So how much are like the electric rails, like, does it like voltage wise, is it low
I
voltage?
don't know. I've been told that if you touch it, you'll feel it. So I haven't tested it myself.
So it's kind of like a little shock maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we always tell people that's why we want them to stay in their seats. We don't want anybody to get injured in case they decide to get out.
Yeah, as you can see, it is one beam after another in this very room. Here we are, room number 2. People like to call it the spinning tunnel of hell, as for some reason, but explain it.
It's just meant to kind of disorientate you as you go through and add to the illusion of the wackiness of the shack.
And as you can see again, we have repeated the tilted track, so you can be elevated.
Yeah.
It's in the same direction as the spinning motion, so it makes you feel like you're about to tip over.
Yep.
And as you said, it was repainted last year.
Yeah, by Brian and Andrew.
So yeah, if you remember from previous years, it was like that color down there, but now it is a more neon fluorescent color. Specs has some more insight about this room. Would you like to explain?
So, from what I've learned from various sources, when Bill Tracy was building this dark ride, he told the people helping him that the barrel would fit through the constructed doors. The barrel did not, and it had to be cut into multiple pieces and put back together inside the building.
So yeah, it may seem like it's a whole piece, but it's actually multiple. So next here is known as the apparition scene here. It was added sometime in the 1980s, so anything to add for this section?
No, it just scares me.
Well, Specs, you do have some insight on this.
I do have some insight. Behind that, it is a very simple effect. It is just a simple house fan up there, blowing the undergarments to give it more of a motion effect, despite the fact that the apparition itself does not move.
And what about the door here?
The door was from Mr. Nelson's grandmother's cottage, which was at the site of where Rainbow Gardens is now. It was, when the cottage was torn down, it was put basically into storage, and when the Whacky Shack was built, they put this here as an original piece with a door knocker sound to add more ambience to this otherwise empty corner.
And as you can see, the sound effect just comes from that little box.
This is the outside of the barrel.
The next area is known as the rat attic, or the interior crocodile room for ICJ fans. Lucas, you do have some insight on this.
I do have something, Jay. If you follow me up here, as you can see, this is the ghoul jumping, like this is the ghoul jump out scare, and this is actually not original to the ride. Now, what was original to the ride were barrels that would fall in front of the cart, and a wire would pull them back to their original position just before the cart passed, so it wouldn't cause damage to the barrels or the cart.
Ah.
Now, after maybe 5 years, that got removed because it was not sustainable in the slightest, as were a lot of the original stuff with this ride, as we will see in the Dimension Corridor.
Now this is one of my favorite stunts in the entire ride, the spiders here. And they are mechanically run. As you can see, they go side by side, 2 by 2, and night by night. But we actually have some serious facts about our spiders, friends.
So we have a gentleman, his name is Randy Scalos. He is a huge part of how the Whacky Shack is maintained, especially in the off season. He is the one that comes through, cleans the whole building, repaints some of the, the displays for us, and I don't think the Whacky Shack would look as great without him. He loves this ride and the Pirates Cove as well. He also runs his own walk-through haunt in the fall out in Conneaut Lake, which is also amazing if you get the chance to go to.
Is that 13 levels of fear, or is it something separate?
That is haunt on Williams Street. It's just right at his house.
Ooh, maybe we'll have to check it out. So here we are at the second to last scene before the first half is over, and anything to explain on this side?
Not from me, I just know I don't like him, he scares me.
It is a pretty simple effect here. We got a household fan over here, and just make some breeze. But Lucas, you do have some insight on him.
I do have, I have a lot of insight in this ride overall, but for this stunt in particular, this was not original to how Bill Tracy designed it. If I remember correctly, there was originally an organ scene which would change colors as the lights, like almost like this, how we have now, would go around and change its colors. Now guests would constantly get out and like Sharpie all over it. Like, nobody knows where they got the Sharpies. They just brought it to the park and vandalized a lot of the stunts. And this is why this gate is here. Like, most of these gates were not here before maybe the 89 season, which is when they put it all up.
Which I think is bull when they do vandalize it. Because it is, sometimes we can't have nice things with that.
Yes, it is very upsetting that the trust of the guests is ruined and we have to put up something permanent like this.
So the air compressor isn't on, so this scene will not be its loudest, but how about we give an insight?
It's been quieted down over the past couple seasons. I believe it's due to guests not just enjoying the loud, right in your face type of noise, but it's family. It's focused more on families now. So we have younger kids getting on the ride. We don't want to terrify them too much.
And that is actually a very thankful change, because I used to hate this when I was younger. Most guests included. So this is a rather welcome change, and as Amanda is demonstrating by her feet here, it is a photo eye sensor right here, and this little white thing you can't really see, but that activates that, which also activates from the air compressor. So whenever you go here, this will officially signify the first half of Whacky Shack. So right here is the infamous fun drop here on Whacky Shack. So a little fact about it.
It used to be much steeper. The cars just couldn't handle the weight of people as we, developed. I don't know.
As
time went on,
people tended to get a little bit heavier throughout the years, and it wouldn't be able to make it through the dip. I think this is just as fun as...
I assume that was something from the 1980s.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Which we will look at it later, but yeah, we will show you how deep it used to be. So you might wonder about all these wooden platters throughout the ride we have seen so far, and how do we maintain these woods so they don't deteriorate over the years?
Well, just like every other ride in the park, our maintenance inspects our rides every single morning, but they also do weekly and monthly more thorough inspections, and they just take a look at them and make sure they're not worn down to the part where the wheel won't be able to make it, or make sure none of the nails are sticking out to cause any wheel issues.
So it's kind of like Ravine Flyer 2 when it comes to a wood retrack.
Basically.
Okay, because that's one of my main questions I had about those rails whenever they had to replace them or do something with them.
Rails are not as typically replaced. They tend to be a little more sturdy. I would say the wood gets a little more weathered down. Yeah.
Alright, here we are. My favorite room in the actual ride is the dimension corridor, or the red square room as I call it. So as we walk through, how about we talk about it?
Well, we call it the heartbeat room, because you can hear the
heartbeat up in the top there.
Yep,
and as you can see, these are individual doors we push through. And on the bottom here, you can't really see, but there is a brake fin at the bottom of this. It never operated to the public without a brake fin. It's just to slow the cars down. I mean, if you see my vlog from 2018, yeah, I skidded through this room and got evac, so this room has a little bit of a curse for me. But as you can see, each door gets pushed individually all the way to this little end, as I call it the bullseye. So any other facts, toys about this room?
I do actually have another fact about this room. So when the building was first constructed and this skeleton was put in, it was originally in an outhouse. Now the outhouse door, as it would come down, would slam open and shut. Now, around like the 82 season, I think, was mainly when they started removing everything. They removed that because the shaking of the outhouse was tearing itself apart. So they completely removed that. And I don't know if they're still up there, but somewhere in that storage area are parts of the outhouse still sitting there collecting dust.
Alright, epilepsy warning if I haven't warned you already, but this is the strobe room here. So as we make our way through here, any facts about this?
Rumor has it that Bill Tracy painted this room himself.
And I heard that the paint is original?
Yeah, the paint is original. This paint has never been redone, never repainted. This is original 1970 paint.
So as you can see, it's a lot very simplified. And right here, many years ago, there was, I believe, an offer board or like a shake board.
Right here, actually.
Right here where this piece as you'd like to explain here?
Yeah, you just kind of leave from the room. Those scary eyes over there have been added fairly recently, I think, by Randy Skalos himself.
And as you can see, this is probably the hardest room to build. The track is level, 48 inches to 0 inches, but the floor is tilted itself. So we're gonna look at a couple of the scares. So we have the aforementioned eyes, which operates by that. And we do have the bar cellar here, which Lucas has some factoids about that.
So when Randy Skalos came into the picture for Waldameer Park, this had just been vandalized. So, like, as has happened numerous times in this ride, it got vandalized, and before this grate was here, someone lifted this out and onto the track. Another cart came through and smashed it. And it was originally going to be thrown out and replaced with something else. We don't know what it would have been because obviously it's here now.
Yeah.
But Randy took it back to his shop and single-handedly repaired and repainted this and put it right back for the following season.
Alright, so right here is the famous bar scene here, and this is one of the more underrated parts of the ride, as Amanda is standing on the proximity sensor here.
Yeah.
So anything to add for this scene?
If you kind of look behind the woman right there, there's a little cutout. That leads to an air compressor room where the maintenance can climb through and fix anything going on in this scene that they need to get to without pulling down the chicken wire.
And yeah, the woman does have a name. Her name is Matilda.
Correct.
And as you can see, it is rumored that these beers here are some of the beers that Bill Tracy himself actually enjoyed while working on this ride here. And as you can see, you have some Budweiser, some Miller Lite. I don't drink alcohol. Please be over 21 and drink responsibly, bread fans. But yeah, this is a very, very cool scene. So we're gonna make through for our next scene here. It's a little bit of the circles here. And you want to explain about the circles?
Now, I don't really have anything for this. It was an original Bill Tracy stunt, just something to fill the air. And for quite a few years, this stunt was not operational. And I am glad that it is back and like working how it used to when I was a kid.
Yeah, because it was restored in about late August of last year. You might have seen my POV, I was freaking out about it. But yeah, this is actually, I thought it was a spider web for some reason, but nowadays, it's just lights. So right here, we're towards the end of the ride here, and there's a lot in this scene at once. So we're gonna go one by one, starting with this little ghost thing we can explain about.
He would normally kind of reach towards you, but we have the air compressor turned on, so that function isn't really working right now.
But it is very cool to look at.
Yeah.
And now we're here at the shark-infested water scene, and we have some of the Bill Tracy signatures, such as the skull and the cavern, all with fluorescent lights. Lucas, do you have anything to add to this?
I do have something to add. That mermaid, like the mermaid skeleton, is not an original piece from the Whacky set. I do not remember what year they got it, but it was bought from Set and it was transported over here and placed there for the shark-infested waters scene, and it's just been sitting there ever since.
So as we said before, the air compressor's not on, but now we have the infamous giant rat here, as we want to talk about.
He's my least favorite part about this ride.
So as you can see, it is powered by air compressor, and the head kind of looks like Joey Jordison of Slipknot right here, as I nicknamed it, but this is probably the scariest figure on the entire ride for myself. I mean, do you have anything to add to that rat?
Surprisingly not. There's not much to know about this rat other than it's a giant rat.
And in ICJ folklore, his name is Jimmy the Rat.
Jimmy.
So, you might want to watch out for him.
So, when the ride was first constructed, there was an idea for a water curtain. And even, like, it got implemented. But its idea was to stop the water just in time. Sometimes it didn't work, and riders would get soaked, and this ride is not meant to keep people soaked. And even when it didn't, the car would track it through the ride, and sometimes there would be short circuits on the track, and they'd have to evac the whole ride. And as I explained earlier, Bill Tracy, although he was very creative, did not think about how things would turn out in the long run, especially with powered rails, which move the carts.
And which actually reveals us to our last remaining stuff, the most infamous one here, the very own school bus, which Amanda will explain here.
So this is the last jump scare of the ride, and as you can see, our friend Ryan in here, he was a Randy Scalos addition several years ago. Randy has quite a few of these little characters that he uses at his haunt in his home in the October season. This little October duck was an addition last year. And it's just meant to be kind of like a nice in-your-face jump scare right before you exit the ride.
And yeah, it was modified, I believe 2017, was it?
Correct.
Due to guest feedback, as Amanda said before, to accommodate more people, which is, like I said, a welcome change here. So yeah, it is a Diamond Rio school bus that scares the crap out of you. So here's another behind-the-scenes thing. Amanda, would you like to explain?
This is just the air compressor that runs the majority of the scenes throughout the ride. We did not turn it on today, which is why you saw most of the scenes kind of
static.
Yeah, they were stationary as opposed to in motion. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know exactly how to open this without breaking something, but and this room is just you know how they store some things. The underside of the barrel for all the mechanical things.
So yeah, that's a little behind the scenes. All right, so here we are at the drop. So here's our little Easter egg here.
So as we mentioned earlier, as we walked out from the first half of the ride, this seam here is the original dip to the ride. But then it had to get filled in because too many Caraca vehicles were getting stuck.
So yeah, as you can see that, imagine how that dip would have felt back in the 70s and or 80s. I mean, imagine the airtime you could have gotten with that on it. Would have been legendary. So this is what I call the Whacky Shack graveyard, or the maintenance area where they fix the cars here, as we see here. So you want to explain about the car system?
The car system is controlled by the powered rails, which gives power to these motors, which drags it across the track. And some of the motors break over the season, you know, it happens, it's mechanical errors. So they use this winch behind you to lift the carts up and bring them all the way back here.
And yeah, these are known as Hush Puppy cars, which was a Bill Tracy signature here.
The Hush Puppy cars are named for their quiet noise as they go through the track. When they are installed, they are very quiet. You know, 52 years later, not as quiet, but they work.
Well, that concludes our exclusive tour of the Whacky Shack. So how about your guys' review of today?
This was definitely worth the time it took, which was like an hour and a half for everybody who is watching this condensed video. We were in there for an hour and a half, and I am glad we got to do this. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You don't really get to do this as a regular guest, and I'm glad we got a bit of leeway with this.
I've been coming to Waldameer since I was like a little baby, so I was always terrified of this ride as a kid. So it is cool to finally go be able to see all the different things. They did make a lot of changes over the years, especially the air horns. Those used to be way louder than they are right now, like blow your eardrums out loud. And I do like that they're a little quieter.
So overall, my thoughts, I am very glad to do this. This was about 7.5, 8 years in the making, possibly more. So I just want to give my special thanks to Amanda Primmett of the ride supervisor and Waldameer Park as a whole for allowing us to do this adventure here today. And hopefully you guys learned a little bit about the Whacky Shack in some form. So Jay from Post, you want to put in the ride count for today? And I'll do it here from Insane Coaster Junkie. I'm Jay here. Thank you for watching this video, and go ride Whacky Shack today because it is one good dark ride. We'll see you all in the parks very soon.
You know it's cold outside.